want to talk about that first match?
Yeah,
Because
the first match we have is Rick Martel before he's known as the Model. That comes later on with Tom Zank. They make up the Can-Am Connection, and they're going against the magnificent Don Muraco and Cowboy Bob Orton with Mr. Fuji as their manager.
okay,
This match goes 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
wow, that's pretty short.
Yeah, and it kind of happens because um Rick and the Can-Am Connection, Rick and Tom are barely coming in here from Stampede Wrestling,
Okay,
or AWA,
okay,
and they barely formed this tag team because Rick Martel is primarily on his own.
wow. So
So they Rick Martel gets a call from Vince, and because he had been working with Vince before,
okay,
and they get him into a contract, and Rick is like, "Well, I have my tag team partner that I've had him for about a year, Tom Bank. Could I bring him with?" And Vince is like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Let's see if it works." So, um, primarily from what I've seen, the Model is pretty much the worker, and he seems to be getting all the pop.
okay,
And you can see why this tag team doesn't last. There's some drama that happens after this, but it's not televised. But behind the scenes, behind the kayfabe thing,
okay,
they break up primarily because Tom Zank thinks that Rick has negotiated with Vince for a higher contract as a singles competitor. So he gets jealous, and that jealousy grows to them falling apart.
okay. So Josh, who are you rooting for?
Of course, Rick the Model. Well, Rick Martel.
So
Okay,
you
I
for
know
the
him as the
Can-Am
Model.
Connection.
Yeah, from the Can-Am Connection. Why is it called the Can-Am Connection anyway?
Because Rick is from Canada
Oh,
and Tom is from America, so it's the Canadian American connection.
that makes sense.
makes sense. Didn't know that.
Oh, and Maria, who were you rooting for?
I'm rooting for Muraco and Cowboy Bob Orton.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Bob Orton got a scoop slam.
Okay.
So like scoop, there it is.
Well, it was probably also good to see him still without a cast, right?
He had a cast in.
He had one cast in WrestleMania 1, and we always say that he's had it ever since he started his career as a wrestler.
Okay. I mean, I think that Rick Martel was great. There was definitely a lot of action, so that was super exciting.
A lot of action for a 5 minute match, right? It was very fast paced, and everything got done.
I mean, for me, I'm like Muraco and his purple shorts are a talent.
So unfortunately, they do not get the win, but the Can-Am Connection does.
Oh yeah. I mean, they did a double drop kick, and I mean, pardon my language, but that shit was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Josh?
I thought it was a good match for it being only 5 minutes. For the most part, the fans were really into it.
They were.
Yeah.
And you can see why they're a very popular tag team at the time as a kind of face going against the heel.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's why I put it in my notes is like they got the good pop, they got the crowd behind them. This crowd throughout this whole pay-per-view, this crowd is very active.
Right.
Like they're very into the show and they're very demonstrative. Whether they're rooting for you or if they don't think that you're a very nice, kind person as a heel, then they make themselves known by throwing some snacks at you or some other types of things at you.
Yeah, those are my favorite fans. My favorite fans in this order: soccer fans, wrestling fans, regular fans, because it's hot as hell outside. So those are my favorite fans.
Nice. If you have a list of your top 5 fans, please feel free to leave it in the comments.
I will say that out of all, well, I don't want to be a spoiler, but I was going to say this is one of my favorite matches.
Oh, well, you're supposed to save that towards the end, but that's good to know. We'll bookmark this as one of your favorite matches.
Thanks.
I did notice two things though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Muraco had like a bandage on his left leg for some reason.
Oh, good. I didn't even see that.
So I saw that and I noticed that I'm like, well, what happened there?
All right.
And then I noticed that Muraco did the Ric Flair turnbuckle flip.
Oh, the overselling
Mhm.
of the whip to the corner or whatever. Yeah, that's very popular around this time.
Yeah, it happens a couple more times in this WrestleMania.
Yeah,